How's it going, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. I'm Alan Staley, and this is Slinging Dirt with Staley. It's an in-depth conversation-style podcast with the drivers behind the wheel of dirt cars across the country. On this week's episode, driver of the Don's Hobby Shop, Dave's Auto Wrecking, Phoenix Micro Welding, C&J Berry Farms, number 37 Sprint Car from Oak Grove, Missouri, Brian Beebe. Brian recently returned from a multi-year-long break from competition, and it didn't take him long to shake off any rust. Beebe alternates his time between wing and non-wing action, competing in both the ASCS Warrior region as well as with the Power I War Series, notching competitive and consistent runs in each. His latest feature victory came at Valley Speedway last season when he blanketed the field of non-wing drivers en route to earning that top spot. With a clean, smart, and patient driving style, it's only a matter of time before Brian matches his impressive resume in the various micro divisions. It's kind of an interesting equation getting two introverted friends together to talk racing. The show didn't even seem like a task, merely a couple of buddies with a microphone picking up our casual conversation. I can't tell you when I met Brian. All I know is I'm proud to call him a friend. Hear all his speed stories ranging from his trip to Texas to battle a tractor tire to why his number means so much to him. Also, hear why he tries to always stay positive, what the ultimate driving dream is, plus Brian's intriguing age-inspired Mount Rushmore of racing, and more on an all-new Slinging Dirt with Staley and special guest Brian Beebe, starting right now.
Before I can remember, I always went racing with my grandpa, and every weekend we'd go racing, and I got to all my cousins race. We went to watch them race, and then I was like, Grandpa, I want to race. You know, he retired from racing, bought a boat and motorhome, and about 2 years later, he sold the boat and bought a junior sprint.
Yeah.
I think that was back in 2002.
So how old would you have been then?
9 or 10.
Yeah. So you started at 9 and 10 there in the micros there at Sweet Springs, yep. I assume. How did it go right off the gate? Did it take a little while for you to gain your confidence to get comfortable behind the wheel, or?
I mean, I was nervous because I never drove one, but Grandpa was like, well, you rode in four-wheelers and dirt bikes, so just,
right.
You know, but it turned out pretty good. I think we finished third our first year in points. In our second year, we finished second. Mm-hmm. I think we only ran them 2 years when we moved up to the 600s.
Mm-hmm. So, why the number? Does it mean anything to you? Is there any big significance?
That's my grandpa's number when he raced.
So you're carrying on the tradition.
And I always asked why he had it. He's like, well, nobody had that number. Everybody, all the other numbers are taken.
Yeah.
It's an uncommon number, so. Yep. So that's why I have it.
I like that. Do you have any race day rituals? Anything that you have to do on race day, or when you're getting ready to climb in the car? Is there a certain way? The right foot first, left foot? You jump in both feet forward?
It depends on I'm running wing or non-wing, but you know, I usually get in and get my suit comfortable and get everything nice and where I need it, and sit in and get comfortable. That's a big thing, being comfortable. And that's about it. You know, try to get a lot of rest the night before, and drink a lot of water, and make sure I eat breakfast.
What is the pre-race meal? Is there anything specific that you go for?
No, not really. I mean, no junk food, obviously, but just something with a lot of protein so I can have a lot of energy and some carbs.
Any problems with wearing green or eating chicken, anything like that?
Well, actually, I eat chicken every day almost, but a green I'm not a fan of. Like, every once in a while I get a green wristband, I'm like, trying not to think about it.
Yeah.
But I don't really see any significance of it, but I try not to mess around with green.
Yeah, I understand that. What's going on in your mind? About ready to be pushed off, because you guys are sitting there in the push-off section, staging area. Right before you're about to come onto the track, before the car ever fires, you got a push truck behind you. What's going on in your mind?
Just making sure I have fuel ready to turn on, ignition, put it in gear. And I'm just trying to think how I'm going to. It's hard to predict how the race is going to take off, but you know, figure out who's by you. You've raced with these guys plenty of times, so you know
who they are,
of them drive,
what they're going to do.
So you just kind of try to process that through your head and try to plan your attack. But after that, as soon as the green flag drops, it's
game on.
Yeah.
Now walk me through the parade lap. Are you warming up the tires? Are you looking for your spots? Or are you just looking up in up at the stands trying to recognize somebody?
Most part, I try to look at the track, see where the moisture's at, where it's slick, keep the motor clear out, keep it loading up, and put a little bit of heat in the tires, get some heat in the brakes, and as soon as they throw one to go, get back in line and just ready to go.
Now let's talk about the specifics of a track. Are you more of a short track versus a long track kind of guy?
I don't know. I like Osborne because it's high banked and it's bigger and fast. I haven't been a fan of California here recently, but just because it's the way it is, I haven't really figured it out.
It's a whole different monster.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot like, you can kind of throw Osborne in the mix, a US 36 a little bit, because they're just different beasts than the other tracks. So high banks is your preferred. What about slick versus versus a heavy kind of thing?
I like slick tracks as long as there's more than one groove around the instead of the bottom. But I'm not a fan of tacky because almost anybody can drive on a tacky track, and it takes a lot of horsepower. And so when it slicks off, it's more of a driver's game and setup game than anything.
So you're running the non-wings this year. Why step away from the wings?
Well, we spent all winter getting our car done, and we're going to run a mixture of both. And I went down to Texas, I think in March.
How'd that go for you?
Well, tractor tires don't play so well. I tore it up pretty good and destroyed that car, so this is our backup, and it was nothing special. We had the 305 in it, just figured out we'd go run until we get my other car done. And so hopefully here in a couple weeks I'll have the wing car done and be able to go wing racing again.
I hope so. It's always a joy whenever I get to talk about you out there on the track. The sport we're in, it's pretty dangerous. How do you do with that? How do you deal with the internal fear?
Well, before I didn't think too much about it. I've had a couple buddies, they've caught on fire. I'm like, it's, when you hear about it on the news, somebody you don't know, it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It happens, but it's not going to happen to me. And then you hear a buddy, and then I crashed down in Texas. That was kind of a eye-opener. I mean, I have all the necessary safety equipment, but it was just like, oh, wow.
It can happen. Yeah, it can happen at any time.
And after that, it took me a few races to kind of get comfortable again. Like, I didn't want that to happen anymore. So.
What besides the danger and the financial aspect, because it's expensive, what besides those two would you say is the biggest negative of the sport?
I think, personally, everybody whining and complaining about different stuff. I know you can't please everybody. You can please this group, and you can piss off this group. Guys don't like this track and don't like how this is run. Well, you don't have to race there. Right.
Flip side of the coin, what's the biggest positive aspect of the sport?
Well, I like it when the kids come down from the stands and you just see a smile on their face and sign their card or flag and tell them to sit in the car, and they're just happier than...
Because it's kind of cool. I remember being that kid. You're in the position now where you can, as a person, make a memory for a kid, and to me that's just one of the coolest things. Let's go back to the actual car. How much time do you spend working on the car during any given week? Let's say the car ran good the week before, it was only a Saturday race, you got a week to prepare. How much time you spending working on the car?
By the time I get home, about 5 or 6, I spend at least 3 or 4 hours a night in the shop, depending on the situation, obviously. But I don't like just not doing nothing. There's always something that needs to be done, whether it is for the car, the trailer, the truck, the shop, whatever. But, it's a full-time job.
Always something. What about during the off season? Are you taking a break from the racing world for a month or so, or are you just, as soon as the season's over, we're jumping right back into it?
Probably as soon as the season's over, probably take maybe 2 or 3 weeks off, just kind of relax and not mess with it, and then get it out, get everything done, and we just slowly, progressively work on it, probably 2 or 3 nights a week, depending on what we're doing. There's nothing really to do in the wintertime, so might as well work on the car. But
why keep doing it? Where's the motivation come from?
I mean, I really don't know no better. Like, all my friends, they all go down the lake and do all this stuff. I'm like, what do you do? What would you do on the weekend, or what?
Yeah, we were talking earlier in the car to where anybody that asks from an outsider's perspective, we live a weird life. Yeah. We tell them we went to Lake of the Ozarks for a 3-day weekend, and they're like, oh, how was the lake? Did you have fun? No, I didn't go to the lake. I went racing instead. So I understand what you mean. We just don't know any different.
What do you do? I mean, any sport or any hobby you do is going to cost money. People are like, well, racers are stupid. They spend all this money to race for this much, and they don't get nothing back out of it. It's more than that. I mean, you go fishing, you got to buy a bass boat, truck, all the tackle. I mean,
the
anything costs money.
Yeah, exactly. So, everything's cost money. If you're having fun, that's the number one reason to do it. Other drivers have kind of referenced this in the past, in past interviews. You get behind the wheel, you don't think, you just react. There's a sense of clarity. Can you kind of elaborate on that?
Well, I mean, before the green flag, it's kind of hard to focus, but until you get ready to come off turn 4 and take the green, then it all goes away, and you're just looking ahead of you and trying to figure out where to go and where the person's not.
In the middle of it, are you analyzing everything, or are you just kind of waiting for a moment to strike?
A little bit of both. I mean, you got to pay attention to what's going on ahead of you, so you know how to plan out your next move, or know what's going on ahead of you, as well as paying attention to what's going on right in front of you. I mean, it's hard to explain. Like, I try to remember what happened in this lap or what part of the race, and I'm like, I can't remember that race really.
Yeah.
You know?
You go back to think about it after it happened, you're like, wait, what happened? Biggest wreck or the scariest moment that you've had behind the wheel? Was it the Texas ordeal?
The wreck, it didn't seem that bad until I got out and I was dizzy and I couldn't see and all that and I felt sick. But the biggest one was in Topeka when I turned over there. All the oil had run out on the headers and it was caught on fire and I was stuck. You know, and it seemed like it took the fire crew forever to get there, but I watched the video. It was only a couple of seconds.
Yeah, but it seemed like so much longer. Yeah,
that was probably the biggest deal. You know, I was upside down and couldn't get out either side or the top. So that was probably the.
It's got to put a certain amount of fear in you. How do you get over that? Just block it out.
Yeah, just block it out. You know, you got all the fire protection on and hoping it's doing its job. And I try to make my cars where I can get in and out as smooth as possible and quick as possible. I don't have any extra side visors or nothing keeping me from getting out. I try not to think about it because that, you know, it's going to hinder you trying to run hard. And,
right.
But
you just kind of got to block it out of your mind in order to compete.
I mean, you could. I think we're safer in these cars than you are in your regular everyday vehicles. I mean,
and the advances in the safety equipment alone over the past 10 years. Competition or camaraderie? How you viewing these guys?
Well, I'm not a person. I'm kind of shy. I don't go out and like, hey, what's your name? Blah blah blah. You know, if they come up to me, I'll tell my name, talk to them. But I'm not one to go out and try and make friends. Which I'm not against it. They come up to me, but they may be the same way. And I know some guys have a reputation of bad attitudes and all this, so I just steer clear of them.
Just kind of stick to yourself and do your own thing. Crossover, slide job. Which do you prefer?
Slide job.
Slide job. It just looks pretty.
Yeah, it does.
Let's say you're standing in victory lane after you win the feature here tonight. What's your go-to post-race beverage?
Well, you know, hot as it is, probably nice water.
About 3 or 4 bottles of water, And you're driving home from the track. It's a late night. Let's say 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. Casey's is on the agenda. What's your go-to drink-snack combination?
Probably that early, I'd probably get a Coke and some pizza.
Yep,
That's the only thing they have it that early in the morning.
Pizza
and some chips.
Yeah. Aside from your race car, what's your dream car? What do you want to go get groceries in? Just kind of pop down to the plaza in KC on one date night or something like that. What's your go-to dream car?
Well, that's kind of hard to pick, but if I had to, I'm a Ford guy.
Yes! Finally!
I like the Ford station wagons, but I'd probably choose 48 or 49 Mercury. Oh, that's sled.
I like that.
That'd be nice.
Yeah. So are you buying it outright, or you want to fix it up yourself?
Depends on how bad it is. I'm not a fan of body work, so depending on what kind of condition it is. But I don't want nothing all fancy. I'd rather have, you know, nice handling car, nice motor. I don't really care much about the paint, so something like that. I could probably handle that.
Hollywood is calling. We're going to be making the story of your life. Who plays you?
Who plays me? I don't know how to answer that.
You going to play yourself in the movie?
I'm not a very good actor, so I don't know. That's a hard one.
You're coming to the track. Do you have a certain playlist that you listen to, or is there a song that you have to play before you strap into the car and get ready to go that get you in the zone, get you amped?
I listen to everything, so I usually just put Pandora on shuffle.
Yep, same here.
Just jam out.
Just jam out. Whatever comes on, you're just going to go with it. All right, just a couple more questions. First off, anyone you want to give a shout out to? Give special thanks for helping you in your racing career?
I'd like to give all my sponsors a shout out. Don's Hobby Shop and Davis Auto Wrecking and C&J Berry Farms. I can't do this without my grandpa Jerry and Doug Perry. Without them, and you know, I wouldn't be here today. So them guys make me go around the track, and we may not do the greatest all the time, but they still believe in us and help us out. And that's all that matters. So.
That's good. What's the plan for not only the rest of the season, next year, and then the future for your racing program?
You know, we talked about getting a 410 and running the WAR thing, but you know, I'd like to have a 360 so I can run ASCS or WAR.
Right.
You know, I don't think you have to have a 410 to keep up with it.
I don't think so.
360 is sufficient enough, but you know, I'd like to run the Warrior region full time for the whole year and see what we can do. But I haven't been on a half mile yet, so that's something I'm gonna have to work on and
have to make a trip down to Sedalia or something like that.
I mean, we'd like to. It's hard on motors, wide open. That's the only thing we stay away from is half miles. So.
Yep. And the final question. It's kind of the staple of the show. What is your Mount Rushmore of racing? Either the most influential drivers for you, the 4 best drivers in your mind. They don't have to be the best, just who are your favorites? Top 4.
Top 4. Well, I'll give 2 young ones and 2 older ones.
That'll work. I like the mixture of it.
I like Doug Wolfgang. I've read quite a few books, or his books about him, and read a lot of stuff. And I like him. Obviously, Steve Kinser.
Yeah, the king.
He's always been my favorite.
He's the king.
I like Kyle Larson.
Young Money.
Yep. And Sheldon Hanschild. Well, actually, hold on. What's his name? Jacob Allen. I've watched him over the last few years.
Yeah.
He's getting better, and him and his brother, that they're not the lowest funded team on the tour, but they don't have the funds everybody else has. And they're winning races and keeping up, and
just impressing everybody.
Yeah, so I like that. I like when the little guy wins. So.
Yep. I like that, buddy. All right, man. That's about all the questions I got for you today. I really appreciate you sitting down, taking the time to talk to me, and good luck tonight. Best of luck. Hopefully, after you win it, I'll be able to come by and talk to you in your trailer.